Okay, we're back for AZ 900 fundamentals. But first, let's go an overview on what we have. Okay, first things first, we have the public cloud, we have the private cloud, or we can have a combination of both public and private, which we call the hybrid cloud. So there's a lot of options that you can go from these three options as well. Um, Next, let's look at the traditional on-premise server. So when you have your traditional on-premise server here on the left side, you have your data, your application, you have your databases, you have your operating system, your physical servers, you have your network storage, and your data center. So all of these things you need to manage for the client. Now, when you go for infrastructure as a service for Windows Azure, the only things that the client manages is the data, the application, the database, and the operating system. The physical servers, the network and storage, and the data centers are being managed by Azure themselves. Now, if you go to platform as a service or PaaS, the only things that you will be managing is your data and your application. The databases, the operating system, the physical service and network storage and data centers will be managed by Azure. And if you go for software as a service, the only thing that you'll be managing is your data. So examples for this is Office 365 and Microsoft Intune. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Let's discuss availability zones, regions in your data centers. Now, when you have what you want is to have at least two data centers. You can have that for your availability zone. It's called AZ1, and you can also have um, three three availability zones as well. So you have AZ1, AZ2, and AZ another AZ3, or you have AZ1 and AZ2, and combine that. That's coming from a region one. So you can also have that for region 2 and region 3. And then you have your geographic regions. So it's India, could be in US, could be in Southeast Asia. Now for service level agreements, they consider a 99.9% uptime for premium storage. For your single VM, it's easy lift and shift. For your availability sets is 99.95% as a service level agreement, protecting against failures within data centers. For availability zones, protection from entire data center failures, and you also have your region pairs, your regional protection with data residency boundaries. So I would prefer the multi-region disaster recovery, but it's going to be more expensive as well. Okay, you also have Azure virtual machines that use infrastructure as a service to provide computing power in the cloud. You have your VM skill sets if you want more VMs or identical VMs, you call that the VM skill sets. You also have app services, which is a platform as a service. So and you want to build, deploy, and scale your enterprise grade web or a mobile or your API apps. You also can consider functions to perform compute actions based on an event itself. For storage, you have the options for Azure Blobs. You have storage for Azure Files, Azure Tables, and Azure Queues. So Blob could be a structured and unstructured data set. Um, so these things are useful for storage, or you have your data store, or you just want a flat file as well. When you have a flat file, it just gets uploaded to the Azure Blob storage as well. So Blob stands for binary large object. Other relevant topics is the Azure IoT Central and the Azure IoT Hub. So if you have Raspberry Pis that you want to um, register with IoT Hub, you can definitely do that. There's also your data warehouses. There's the option for Azure SQL Data Warehouse. You have Azure HD Insight for Hadoop for big data. There's also Azure Data Lake Analytics for Azure Data Lake Gen 2 as well. And then you have here on the left side the Azure Functions, Azure Logic Apps, and the Azure Event Grid. For security, you have to review a little bit about physical security, identity and access management, perimeter like your firewalls, and then network compute application and data services as well. So they have the data centers, your network, your physical host, and the other services. So you can look at IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS and compare that with your on-prem and see what's best for your organization. And then finally, we have the total cost estimates. If you want to run it yourself, um, total on-prem cost, you want to compare that with the cloud cost. You're gonna have a lot of savings on that. So you can use that TCO calculator for that if you want to migrate to Azure and how much you're gonna be able to save as well. You also have the Azure Support Plan, which covers from basic to developer to standard to professional direct and to premier. Um, you can see here you have their case severity and response times less than 8 business hours for developer, less than 4 hours for moderate business impact for standard. Um, for professional direct, moderate business impacts less than 2 hours, and for premier, um, moderate business impact is less than 2 hours. Now, to really get ready for Microsoft Azure fundamentals, you have to review the core Azure services. We have to review for Azure pricing and support. You have to review cloud concepts like IaaS, PaaS. You have to review for security, privacy, compliance, and trust. So zero trust, if there's a breach, or what network services or security service you need to enable for your organization. So that's it. Thank you.